Hello and welcome back to my channel, and just in case you're new here, my name is Mike, and in this video I'm going to be doing another NECA figure review for version 4 of the almighty King Kong. That's right, I found the version 4 NECA King Kong at Target recently and picked them up and knew I couldn't wait to get him home and review him right here on the channel for all of you, so I sincerely hope you enjoy this. Out of all the NECA figures, I do have a couple little critiques about this figure that we're going to get into right now. So let's slice right into it. Alright, here we are, everybody, taking a look at version 4 of NECA's King Kong. And of course, on this channel, the first thing I always like to do is take a quick look at the box. And I will say, out of all the cover arts of the 4 versions of the NECA Kongs, this one is definitely probably my favorite, with King Kong atop of the tower, just like the classic 1933 and the remakes and whatnot. The shackles around his wrists, I love him reaching up here and holding on to the block lettering. I love the look of this. It's definitely my favorite box that they've done out of all 4. The sides is really cool. Kong beating his chest, of course, just says King Kong there. On the back, they got this really cool shot of him swinging at the airplanes. And then down here, we got 4 more promotional shots of Kong. My favorite probably being this one. That's the one I'm going to attempt to replicate when I display him. And on the other side, we have the King Kong growl, snarl, looking all sorts of pissed off. And I think I know why he's pissed off. Same reason why I'm pissed off, because this figure is not black and white. Now, if there was ever a Kong that NECA should have painted a black and white variant, it was this one. Even when you look at the box, it just looks like it needs to be a black and white figure. That is my only complaint about this Kong, is that he should have been black and white. I mean, he just looks so off, as you can see here on this promo shot too. He just looks out of place not being black and white. He just doesn't look as good as I feel like he could, as if he was black and white. I mean, I feel like they missed a big opportunity with this, especially with this Kong being released so closely to version 3 Kong that came with the little kaijus. This one should have stood out a little bit more in more areas than just different accessories. But ultimately, I'm a sucker. I'm going to buy any King Kong they put out, and it's still a very cool figure. And I'm going to show you all right now when we get him out of the box. Alright, here he is outside of his box. Now, the first thing we're going to take a look at, of course, is Kong himself. And we're going to go pretty quick through his articulation because it is the same body, the same sculpt, and the same overall build and structure as the other 3 Kongs. So we're going to go through his articulation rather fast. But again, as you can all see, the detail is there. If you look deep into his eyes, they're nice, shiny, glossy looking eyes. All of his battle scars are really deep, and the red shows much more than it does on the original Kong. This one is much more similar to the version 3 Kong with the little kaiju. This one is almost exactly the same. As you can see, the paint a little darker, a little lighter in certain areas. Much closer, again, to the version 3 than the version 1. Articulation, he has all the basic articulation. His arms will go out side to side, of course, up and down, and you can see the joints in his elbows, which allow for really good posability, I would say. I mean, they'll even bend up this way. See, he's kind of double jointed there. Both arms, of course, will do that. His legs, same thing. If you look behind him, double jointed in the knee and the thigh. He has rolled jointed feet, so if you want to rotate those at all. Standard NECA peg holes for fig stands. And this leg on my Kong seems to be a little bit looser than perhaps it should, so I'm going to be rather careful with the legs. And I'm not going to mess with them too much. But if you're not familiar with the version 3 Kong, they did introduce something new to the Kong line, and that is this moving jaw that I think is by far one of the coolest things they've introduced to the King Kong line recently. The moving jaw is one of my favorite pieces, and I love this look with the open mouth of Kong. I love that look, but I haven't displayed it yet. So now that I have this Kong, he's going to rock this head with the open mouth. I'm really excited about that. He's a great figure. He stands fairly well. He also comes with the growling alternate head, just like version 3. Now I have version 3, and this is the head that is displayed on him. So, like I said, it's kind of cool that now I can display him with this head, and I'll have them both. So I'm really appreciative about that. Standard King Kong hand accessories. He has 2 fists that he has on right now, and then he comes with the 2 open palms. Again, great detail on those. You can see the scars and the cuts and the weathering, the age in his hands. And then he also has 2 hands for gripping purposes. If you want him to hold the airplane, or, hold Godzilla by the frickin' tail or something, whatever you want him to hold, NECA's got your back. Now, the biggest thing, excuse me, the only thing that sets this Kong aside from the version 3 Kong is going to be his accessories. He comes with 2 shackles that go around his wrist. And of course, if you're familiar with, especially the 1933 film, but it has been remade, and people put their own little spin on it. But obviously, his shackles from when he breaks free, of course, he got those, go right around his wrist, like you see on the box. Oh, it looks like you're gonna have to pop his hand off, put the shackle on his wrist, and then put his hand, put his hand back on. And now he's rocking the ever so lovely shackles. And he also comes with the airplane, just like the original film, the ones that he was swatting down. Now, the first thing I thought when I took this airplane out of the box was, man, is this thing thin. Like, it's super light, it's super thin, but, which is okay. It doesn't need to be anything major. It doesn't need to be this big hunk of plastic. But one thing I loved that I did not know was here was these 2, the pilot and the gunner. If you can see that right there. That is super cool. I did not know they were there, and I love that little detail, and made me just love this figure that much more. Now, one thing you should all be aware of, and you might think I'm an idiot for not knowing this, but the promotional pictures all over this where Kong is standing at the top of this tower, the top of this building here, for whatever reason, my dumbass thought it came with this figure, and it most definitely does not. Of course, standard NECA, it tells you right here what it includes, but I have not looked at this since the review, and I got this guy a few days ago. So that's my mistake. Initially, when I opened the box, I was let down because it was not in the box. But again, that's my mistake. If I would have read, then I wouldn't be disappointed. So I'm not going to count that against the figure at all. Again, my biggest gripe is this guy should be black and white. We have 3 other King Kongs that are not black and white. This guy should have been black and white. With the airplane and the shackles, this should have been the one. But it's not. All in all, still a great figure, still a great sculpt, and I'm in love with it, and I can't wait to get him on the shelf. He just looks still phenomenal. If you're a King Kong fan, if you're a collector, you're probably going to get him. And yes, I do recommend him. He's absolutely phenomenal. And as always, I want to say thank you all so very much for watching and all of your support. I cannot tell you all how much it means to me, how much it means to my family, and I love to see this community grow. So if you want to follow me on my Instagram page, right there is a great place to do it for a more personal look at my life of horror, or more in-depth conversations, or if you want to request videos or just see some of the wacky, stupid shit that I do out in my life. I usually put it on Instagram. Channel notes and programming notes I always put on the Instagram first as well, so that's a good place to go for that. But also, I'm really trying to get over our new Facebook closed community group that we had launched. It is called This Is Our Design HC. Go ahead and look that up on Facebook if you're interested. It's a great place to go and discuss all things horror, from movie trailers to memes to displaying your collection. Maybe you're trying to find a certain NECA figure like this King Kong out in the wild and you need some help. You can give each other tips. If you just need someone to talk to, it's a fun, safe environment to go and discuss horror. We're really trying to get that off the ground because I've been saying this since my very first video, that it's not about me, it's about us. So I'm trying to get this community up and off the ground. So if you want to join that, that's how you do it. It's on Facebook. Just search that. My wife or I will accept you right away. And then you can start talking some bloody good shit. So again, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this figure review, and leave a comment down below of what else you'd like me to review. And again, always remember, this is my design.